Real problems in the office this morning. Just came in and I've dropped my favourite Coventry City mug onto the floor of the office kitchen and it's smashed to pieces. Some of you will be happy about that. But I posted, as soon as I'd broken that, into our youth WhatsApp group and I said, tragedy struck. And I was being silly, of course, it's not a real tragedy. But it suddenly brought to mind the fact that at the moment in the scriptures, I'm in the book of Daniel. And in chapter 6, you read about a genuine tragedy, a real tragedy. If you've ever been through Sunday school or anything like that, you'll be familiar with Daniel and the lion's den. But what jumps out at me from chapter 6 this morning kind of happens before we see the lions and the whole drama there. Just as a bit of background, Daniel is amongst a group of Jewish people who've been taken from their homeland and forced to live in Babylon, a foreign nation. And the king of that foreign nation has just been advised to make a ruling that no prayer, no worship to any god is allowed. Only honor to be given to the king. And this is a real tragedy for Daniel. He's from the people of Yahweh, the one true God, the God of Israel at this point in the scriptures. And so how does he respond in this tragedy? Well, chapter 6 and verse 10 gives us a little glimpse. Now, when Daniel learned that the decree had been published, he went home to his upstairs room where the windows opened toward Jerusalem, and 3 times a day he got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to his God, just as he had done before. So in spite of the intense pressure that this ruling would have brought about, and the threat to his life, Daniel continued to pray to God just as before. And we see that he actually gives thanks to God. And that really jumped out at me because in the midst of this very, very testing, difficult, dangerous circumstance, Daniel gives thanks to God. Verse 11 continues, "Then these men went as a group and found Daniel praying and asking God for help." And then they go and report to the king, "Hey, we found Daniel and he's breaking your rules. He needs to die." And that's when we get into the lion's den drama. But 2 ingredients of Daniel's prayer life, even though he was in the midst of tragedy and tense situations and danger, he thanks God and he asks God for help. Whenever you face difficulty in your life where something breaks down, maybe you face tragedy, maybe you face trial and tense circumstances, follow the prayer life of Daniel. Thank God. There will always be something we can thank God for, even if it's just the very fact that we have breath in our lungs. Thank God. It helps to change the atmosphere of our soul when we can say thank you to God, even in the midst of difficult times. And secondly, bring your problem to him. Ask for help, just as Daniel did. That's what we read in the scriptures about Daniel, and his faith, his continuance to pray to the one true God, eventually led to his rescue from certain death. The mouths of the lions were shut, Daniel was saved, and in fact the king was then changed too. He changed his decree, never stop anyone from praying to the God of Daniel, because he is a God like no other, and we know that to be true. He is the one true God.